Hi, welcome. My name is Dr. Amy Gimino, and I'm a faculty member at California State Polytechnic University, Pomona. And I'm here with my colleague, Dr. Geary, today to share this wonderful presentation with you. Really appreciate you being here. Dr. Geary?
Yeah, and I echo Dr. Gemino's gratitude for you viewing our presentation. Our presentation today is going to be on elementary hands-on interdisciplinary teaching for a sustainable world. So let's go ahead and get started. So our presentation today is modeling 3 activities from an organization called Population Education. It's a nonprofit outside that comes from Washington, D.C., and their mission is to provide quality training and teaching materials for educators to help them cover population topics effectively in the classroom. And the images here, the photos here, display some of the interactive activities that they have. And down here, this is their uh, website if you were interested in that. And so as we start our activities, we set the foundation looking at what is the population of our planet, because as our population grows, we want to make sure that we are using our resources and making choices that are sustainable to ourselves and future generations. So on the slide, you'll see a certain number, and then if you click on the the URL at the bottom, you'll see the current count of what the world and US population is. So in our presentation now, we're going to use that as a foundation as to why we would talk about population, especially in a school setting. But you can also do that in your school as you go about exploring some of these activities. And so, what are some of the topics that population education has existing lesson plans on? They are divided into 2 groups. One is environmental, resource use, habitat and ecosystems, water, agriculture, and energy, as well as urbanization, public health, representation, education, human rights, and fertility and mortality. And so we can see that these topics can be analyzed and learned about in isolation, and they can also be readily integrated into our curriculums in a K-12 setting. So at the end of our presentation, you'll have access to a QR code, which will allow you access to a K-12 curriculum produced by Population Education. The 3 activities that we're modeling today are a part of that K-12 curricular access. In addition, there are 60 plus hands-on lessons, virtual adaptations for digital learning, 24 student readings, infographics, charts, maps, digital adaptations, and so much more. And so at the end of our presentation, we'll go ahead and display a QR code, which will allow you access to this K-12 curriculum. And that QR code is for life. Once you have participated or attended a population ed presentation, and have that QR code, you have access for the duration of your career. And so it's a great resource that can be integrated into a wide variety of curriculums. So today's lessons, we're going to be going over population circle, one for all, and more or less. Those are our 3 activities for today. We'll start off with Dr. Gimino. She's going to review population circle.
Okay, I'm very excited to share this activity with you. This is an activity Dr. Geary and myself, we got to experience firsthand as we were being trained to be trainers for population education. And what I really like about this activity is it helps us really experience the rate of population growth and kind of the impact of population growth on our Earth. So this is a large group simulation, and we'll model for you virtually what we're going to do in person at the conference this week. Okay, so the instructions is we want to model the Earth, and so we on the floor will put a a yarn circle around the area that we will call the Earth. And virtually today, we're just going to model this for you with the circle that we have here on the right-hand side. And then what we're going to end up doing is passing out cards to the participants or the students in the classroom. And those that end up with a card will have a corresponding number. So we are going to start this activity in the year 1525 with the number 0. That's a starting point. And we're going to simulate population growth up into present time. And each year that we add is going to represent 5 years in the timeline. Okay, so everyone that's participating will get the card, and when they hear their number, they will enter the Earth. And as we do this amazing time travel, I always think of Back to the Future, going back in time, but here today we're going in advancing in time. So as we do this amazing time travel, we will be just counting 1 to 100, and each year again will represent five years, or each number will represent 5 years. And then as the numbers come up, the population will be increasing by 250 million people as each individual enters the circle or enters the Earth, which is pretty remarkable. So we're going to go ahead and start. We'll go fairly quickly. You'll get the feel of this very quickly. But we're going to start with the year 1525 with 250 times 2. So we actually have 500 million people on the Earth, and we will just start counting as we would do in the simulation. Now, note, if you have a small group of students and you don't have enough students to be present in the simulation, you can put objects such as chairs, for example, into the classroom space to represent the change in population. So that's just a modification we will send to you. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start counting. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 45. Okay, 45 years. We're now at 1750. We've added another 250 million people to the Earth. So we are now at 750 million people. We'll continue counting. 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56. Here we have another 250 million people added to Earth. We are now at 1 billion people. 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65. Once again, we've added 250 million people. We are now at 1,250,000,000 people. 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73. Another person, or another 250 million. So we're 1.5 billion people. 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, and 100. So between 2020 and 2025, and actually the year 2022, we added not added, we now have 8 billion people on the Earth. So where we go after the simulation, you have the participants in the room really crowded into the circle, as you see in the picture that's depicted here. And we have a debrief activity and let the participants kind of share what they noticed about the Earth over this time span. And over 50% of the cards, as you probably noticed, join that circle in the last 10 counts. Sometimes you would see two or three people enter at a time. Okay. In the real world, 50% of our global population has been added to the planet since 1980. And for many of us, we have been alive since 1980. So we've been able to see and experience this, or at least be exposed to it. Okay, so following all of the population ed activities, we always engage students in deep discussions about the simulation, what they learned from it, or what they observed. And in this case, these are some of the questions that we would go through. We're not going to go through in great detail about this, but just keeping in mind there's changes in rates and things, challenges and advantages associated with growing populations. It's not always a negative thing. There's many attributes, which we'll see in a later simulation, that are positive in terms of change in population on the Earth. But one of the main things in change of rates, we do know that this has major implications of different places, and some places really feel that crowding and the impact of the population growth, such as China, and have developed policies such as the one birth per family policy to implement to try to make some change in this rate. Other places such as Somalia are really expanding population very rapidly. Okay, we're going to go ahead and go through our next activity. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it to Dr. Geary.
All right, well, our next activity is titled One for All, and in it, it's a simulation where students draw renewable resources from a common pool and determine short-term consumption strategies to preserve long-term impact. And so as we go through this activity, uh, where we focus with the students on the logistics of this activity without calling the product that we're manipulating renewable resources. And that comes into the conversation, the debrief after our conversation. So there are some rules for the simulation. One is that the chips in the blue pool belong to everyone. You may remove red chips from the pool when I say go, and when I say stop, you may no longer remove chips. You cannot return a chip to the pool once it leaves. At the end of the round, if you gather 10 red chips, you can trade them in for a yellow star. At the end of each round, I will double the number of chips left in the pool up to a maximum of 20 chips. So with that, let's go ahead and take a look at our game board. So we'll be using this game board today. You can see that there's space for five participants. And in our pool, we have 20 resources. These red chips are the resources. And so we're going to play 3 rounds of this game. And in each round, we'll be manipulating the resources, the red chips, in a little bit different way and kind of talk about what the societal impact and social impact is of that based on how they're being manipulated. So in this first round, we're going to go ahead and try and grab as many of the blue dots as possible. As many of the blue dots as possible. So are you ready, Amy, to play our first game?
Yeah, so go ahead and get started. So the goal, we're grabbing as many red dots as we can until the timer goes off. Is that right?
Yes. So I'll go
Hey,
ahead. When I say go, we can start grabbing them. And when I say stop, then we'll stop grabbing them. Okay?
perfect.
All
Forward.
right. Ready, set, go. So here we are. We're just hovering over these red dots and we can go ahead and grab them and take them out of our pool. And we want to, looks like all the players are gathering some of the resources. Okay, stop. So we've ended our game here. And just like I said in the rules, as many red chips are left in the pool is however many will double. And so in this round, we can see that there are no chips left in the pool. And so this game is over because the pool is empty, and there's no second round in this with this strategy because all of the chips have been eliminated from the pool. And so if we want to go ahead and strategize again, we think about a different strategy where we can play the game but still have red chips remaining in the pool so that they can be doubled. And then we can play another round because there are still remaining red chips. So, Amy, what do you think would be a good strategy for our next round?
Well, the more I'm thinking about it, like people really want to get those gold stars. I would want to get a gold star. And so what we know is you need to get 10 red dots in order to get the star. So if we wanted to kind of maybe tag team and decide like somebody gets to get the 10, and if we leave 10, then we can get 10 more, and then the next person can get 10, and so on. So maybe we just let you, Cynthia, maybe you get to go get the 10 red dots, and then we'll allow it to repopulate and see what happens. Do we want to try that?
Okay, so let's make sure we have 20 in here now. Okay. All right. So, yeah, let's go
Okay,
ahead and I'm going to take out 10 and then the others can be, oh, and then we're going to leave 10 in the pool so they can be doubled. Is that our
perfect.
strategy?
I think that's a great strategy. Yeah, let's
Okay,
try
so I'm
that.
going to say go and then I'll start. And when I say stop, we'll end.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, ready, go. So here we go. And I want to make sure I just hover over those red dots so that I can grab them and have them in my little game board. Oh, do we get some?
I think you got some more.
Okay, let's see. Okay, so how many do we have left in here now? Oh, but then uh our other player Jaden, he decided to do his own thing. He didn't want to go along with that strategy. And
Oh
so
no.
how many do we have remaining now?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 9. We have 9.
9. Okay,
Oh
great.
no.
So our
Oh, okay.
strategy was to have 10 so that we could double them to the maximum.
Oh
But not
no.
everyone played by the rules of our or what we came to consensus of as a group. So I was able to get a star because I'll have the 10 red dots. But then for our next round, we won't have the full 20 because one person decided to play the game how they wanted to. So let's go ahead and strategize for our next round. And in this round, we're going to double our 9 and have 18 red dots. And what do you think might be a good strategy for that one, Amy?
Um, okay, that's 5. We'll add 4 more back, and let me just do this real quick. So get 6, 7, 8, and 9. So there should be 18 in the pool right now. You can double check that while I think through strategy.
Okay.
Gosh. Um, so Dr. Geary, Cynthia, you ended up with 10, so you get the gold star, right? You
I
have
get
that
the gold
already?
star.
Awesome. Well, you are so lucky. Okay, so you get
All
the gold
right.
star, and you get to trade yours back in to the teacher zone because that's the teacher gives you the red star. So there they go back in there, and then we'll replenish the pool. Well, I think this time you've already got that star yourself. Sorry, I grabbed the star. There we go. Just the star. Doesn't want to come out of there. Well, you have the red star, the gold star, it's just being a little clunky. There we go. Um, okay, so you have that there. I think it's kind of hard to wait for somebody to get all of them. I want to get a gold star too. And I think some of the peers want to do that as well. So maybe what we do, since you have a star, maybe you don't get any this time. And then Jaden, Juan, and Dolores, you all agree? Maybe we each take a few of them, but make sure that we leave 10 in the pool. And if there's 10 in the pool, then that way we can have it replenished to be 10 more. Does that sound like a good plan?
I like that strategy. So when I say
Yeah.
go, we'll go ahead and start. And when I say stop, we'll stop. Okay,
Okay.
ready, set, go.
I think.
Okay, great. So now we have some distribution of our red dots, and we do have some in the pool that will replenish themselves. And yet there's still one person that has an overwhelming majority of that resource or of the red dots, right?
Yeah,
And so
totally.
this simulation on this board helps to put students in a situation where they're engaged in the distribution of the red dots, which also represent uh, natural resources. Well, they could be any resources, actually. So, Dr. Gimino, could we go to slide 120?
Perfect. Yeah, I think that, is that this one?
Well, let's go ahead and talk about the different
Oh,
game
the
boards.
different ones. Oh, sorry about that. Yeah,
That's
okay.
okay. So
This one? Okay.
on in the Pop Ed resources, they do have different game boards. Just they look they have a lot of color to them, but the difference is that they're for different numbers of students. So this one has a place for 10 students to play. And there's another slide, I think before this. Oh, this one. Okay, so
Mhm.
this would just be, 20 students. So you could play it in a small group or with a whole class.
And even a bigger one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so if you're doing this game in person, instead of using the red dots, you could use the poker chips. Or for our young learners, you could use the Go Fish, the fishies. And instead of using a game board, another option for carrying out the game would be to put all the fishies in a bowl and set some kind of strategy as a class, and then pass the bowl around. Kind of with the anticipation that not all students will be able to regulate themselves with this, primo fishy snack in front of them to whatever the strategy is. Um, so then there would be some variable in how many uh, fishies different students took, and then what was left over, if it could be replenished or not. So that would just be a different manipulative for a younger audience that might be more captivating for them.
I always think of passing the bull and that notion of sharing is caring that we learn early on in elementary school and kinder and even younger these days.
Okay, and
Okay.
so I'll go ahead and pass it off to Dr. Gemino.
Okay, so kind of as we're moving up the developmental levels and moving more into middle school and high school, or upper elementary, there's a lot of different activities in the Pop Ed repertoire and the curriculum. Again, for all different content areas, grade levels, integrated content, AP classes, you name it. All standards aligned. With this particular activity, we wanted to model because I think it kind of bridges a lot of the different concepts, and again is something that can be used in different content areas as well. So this is an activity that can be structured or scaffolded in many different ways. But really the idea is that students will be constructing a word web to show possible cause and effect relationships of a growing population. So we will kind of show you what this looks like with some of the scaffolded materials here virtually today, and we'll be doing it with less scaffolds, I think, when we do the presentation in person. And so the idea is that groups will be making cause and effect word webs, investigating impacts of having more people on the planet. And then if there were many groups, they would each, if you're doing it virtually, you could have different slides for different groups. In our case, Cynthia and I will be just manipulating as if we are group one. So we'll move on to that slide and show kind of how this works. Okay, so the idea is that the scaffolds are the different words in the word bank, and then the different options, they'll have these more or less cards as well as arrows to kind of show with relationships how things might be related. They're going to start with, at the center, it will be a blank canvas with more people at the center, and then the opportunity to choose from the word bank different items such as gasoline and move them, manipulate them into the center, and then decide if more people leads to either more or less of that item, which is number 3 here. You can pull those cards into the center workspace. And then finally, you can have arrows of different directionality to show relationships. So anyway, we'll go ahead and model for you what this might look like. Okay, so to get started, we'll just do a couple of items here to just kind of get the feel and the flavor for this. But I'll go ahead and start, and I will come up with, if there are more people on the earth, I believe that that would lead to, let's do more, oops, sorry, escape, I need to manipulate this. More people on the earth would lead to more cities. Let's go ahead and put cities here, and I'll use the more because I think that would lead to more cities. And then I can also pull over kind of an arrow or directional arrow diagonal, make my people into a different space. Okay, here we go. The arrow can come like this, and more people lead to more cities. That. Hey,
Okay, great.
Cynthia.
Thanks for that. So I think with more people and more cities, that is going to lead to less habitat.
Mm.
And I'll put those there. And I think it could relate to both of them. So I'm going to grab this arrow and put it here. And I'm going to grab this arrow and, oops, maybe just a straight one. This
Oh, I see what you're
arrow
doing.
and put it right there.
Perfect. Okay. And I will say, I think more cities, more people, we'll also have kind of some more cars, right? So maybe we will take that and add more, like more here. And then we can also add in the arrows. Kind of pull it up one, goes up, and go like this. And then maybe also just for some fun, we add another arrow like this. More cities might also lead to more cars. There we go.
Okay, so I'm going to say that more cities and more cars will lead to less in, oh, I was going to say, uh, m- uh, I will say less gasoline because the cars will be using the gasoline. And so there'll be less available.
Oh, okay. That's an interesting way to see it. I would think maybe as we do this, less gasoline and less available for people to use. Okay, more people, more cars, less gasoline. Um, I will put it as I'm going to go like this. I'm going to say more cars, and this is kind of dependent on the kind of cars, might lead to more clean air if the cars are electric cars,
There you go.
right?
Very true.
Very true. So,
Okay, so I would say, hmm, um, trying to find something that's less. Oh, fresh water.
oh,
Okay,
yeah,
so more cities would lead to less fresh water.
I like that. Don't like that there's less fresh water, but I like the notion that more cities lead to less fresh water. Okay, so we'll go ahead and stop here. There are many different possible relationships here in the word web in different ways that students can represent or participants can represent kind of the impact of more people on the earth. So, as with all of the simulations, there's always a set of discussion items to help guide students into kind of more meaningful learning or higher order thinking, deeper levels of learning of the activity. So, in this case, I might talk about something in the website where you could switch to more or less in the cards. And when we just went through this activity, we were talking about, gasoline and cars, can have either impact depending on the kind of car. If it's a gas guzzling car, it's going to use much more gas, and then that's one of the things that we may not have as much on the earth. But if it's an electric car, it can move to having more gas available. So those kind of relationships are really important things for students to think about and to discuss. And then other things that you can do with students is have them think about things in their own personal lives where resources are affected. I like to think about kind of walking students, especially young students, through their early daily preparation to come to school. Maybe they're in a household if they are living in a home where they have siblings and there's a hot water tank and there's only so much hot water. And so depending on whether they're first in line for the shower or the last in line, they may or may not have the hot water to have for their shower that day or that evening. In the classroom, again, going back to examples with young children, we find things like crayons, are really abundant in resources potentially at the beginning of the school year, but as the school year goes on, then it can get to the point where certain colors are just not plentiful, and even the size of the crayons, they can start to see how things get depleted over time. So those are just some examples that could be used in terms of community where students live and are. We can think about the impact of things like recycling or not, and trash buildup or not. And what happens if the trash doesn't get picked up, and what that might look like within their communities too. So there's just many different ways to take this, and again, it can cut across pretty much any of the content areas for students. Okay, so we talked about the scaffolds, and just as we showed you virtually on our workspace or the white space, there are also cards that can be cut out as part of this curriculum for the word banks. And then if you have access to something like a whiteboard, students can post these on the whiteboard and then draw the lines there. Or if you don't want to scaffold as much, which is what we'll probably end up doing in our simulation at the conference, you don't need to give the word bank, and you let the participants come up with their own ideas in terms of what can be impacted as adding more or less within the environment of the earth based on population growth. So all of these resources plus there's a version for multilingual language learners. So it's another way to kind of bridge us in say even world language classes. Okay, so that is the end of our presentation in terms of some of the simulations and resources available. Again, we just wanted to emphasize that these are really amazing lesson plans and items that are available for you or your students to use. Um, and all they have to do is sign up to do that as part of the Pop Ed program. So I hope you find these resources valuable. Population ed just really wants to get them in the hands of individuals. There's some final wrap up things that we would like to ask of you. The first is to do us a favor of completing this really brief survey. It takes less than 5 minutes. Provide us with your name, your email if you would like to opt in for the Pop Ed newsletter to get periodic updates in terms of things that are happening with the curriculum and events and whatnot for students. So we encourage you to scan that code and take the 5 minutes or less to complete the survey for us. We'd really appreciate it. The other thing I want to share with you, as Dr. Geary mentioned, there is tremendous amount of resources of online K-12 curriculum aligned with the standards, Common Core standards across the US and even beyond into Canada. So all you have to do is scan this QR code. And you can have access to 60 or more hands-on lessons, virtual adaptations for digital learning if you end up in a situation like we did today with modeling it this way, or if you have Google Classrooms or whatnot, you want to add some of these opportunities, extension activities and whatnot for students there. It's a great opportunity. 24 student readings, infographics, charts, digital adaptations, and more. Um, Additional population ed resources for you. The worldpopulationhistory.org has a dot video that kind of represents the changes in population of the Earth, and you can kind of see geographically what's happening on different continents with secondary lessons, pop quizzes, and many more resources. And then going to the world of 8 billion, another amazing resource with videos. One of the things that we learned about was a video competition for students, which oftentimes I think some of the secondary students or upper elementary might enjoy being part of this competition where they create their own videos and share about the impact of population growth within their local community. So contest topics for that are energy, wetlands, and economics. Okay. And then finally, other ways to be involved with population education. It's a little bit bigger. Like us, if you would like to become a trainer for population education, there's over 500 volunteers here in the United States. You get to share resources with other teachers in your community, and they will reach out to you if there's opportunities, because oftentimes districts or teacher ed programs or other teachers are really wanting to learn more about this and how they can use these resources in their classrooms. There's an online graduate course for anyone that's interested. Students can take the class or educator preparation program instructors can take the class. You can earn 45 units graduate credits through Adams State University. And this is fully asynchronous and it's offered 4 weeks in the summer. So finally, the last slide is we really appreciate you being here today and taking the time to learn about population education. We hope this is a resource that you will find valuable or your students will find valuable. So just wanted to, again, thank you. I hope this was a valuable use of your time, which is a precious resource as well. I'll turn it to Dr. Geary.
Yeah, well, just before we sign off, once again, thanks for joining us. And if you have any further questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us at our emails there. Have a wonderful day and enjoy the conference. Bye now.
Bye. Thank you very much.